Hi, my name is Michael Mukula. I'm a father, businessman, and a rally driver. I'm a father, businessman, and a rally driver. I love rally. My background is in sports. I was formerly a basketball player. I'd endured quite a bit of competition in basketball. And for a long time, we were involved in so many championship events. I think that's where my competitive nature comes in. I get my rally bug from my dad. My dad was also a rally driver. And I think as a child, I feel like I'm living his dream. And I hope for now I'm making him and the family proud. So my background, of course, I'm a Muteso. My mother is Muganda, Mukazi wa Kabaka. So I was raised in Buganda region. And that's where my love stemmed from my parents and the support I get from my loved ones and my family. So my background when it comes to how my competitive nature came in, I've always been competitive in nature. I always started out from soccer. I was a striker, very competitive. I was athletic, so 100-meter dash I would run, 200-meter and even 400 I would be involved in. I was also involved in handball, at which point in time, at some point I remember in high school, we challenged the national team of handball. I played also volleyball. I also do boxing. I also did taekwondo. I have quite a background in sports. I've always been sports, swimming. I was also in the school team. So I've always been in sports. I love sports. I love the essence of competition. I love everything about it. What it does to you as a man, as a person, the discipline, the focus, the challenge, the respect you get from others. Yeah, and now my sport, my love is rally. Yeah, so my dad, when I was younger, he took me to rallies, and it was mainly my mom. And I remember one particular memory I have in particular is when he got the Celica GT4 165. And that time, Carlos Sainz had just won with the car. So it was a Group A car. It made headlines. I mean, from here all the way to Kenya, people were talking about the car, and Captain had it. So I remember there was so much hype around the car, and I remember he was starting car number 27. I don't know if that number is correct, but I remember in my mind it was car number 27. All I remember is when the race started, because of, now I understand what he meant, but when I was younger, I actually thought he came from the 27th position and overtook. But he did so well. He came up the leaderboard, and he was overtaking cars in the section. And he finished the day, I believe, either in third or second place. And then he eventually got out, I think, for mechanical reasons. But in the time that he did so, I felt like king, because every time he crossed us or passed us, it seemed like the car was never on the ground. And I remember having that memory of him. It was a wet day, I remember. And I felt like this was something I needed to become part of. And also the other thing that also came to me was a time with Charles Mohanji, the African rally champion. So the time I saw him in, I think it was Gayaza. I saw him in Gayaza, and that was amazing. That memory alone, when I saw him driving the Chitaguru and how it reacted, and man, I just said I have to drive. When I started feeling like I can become a rally driver is, I used to play a lot of video games. I still do play video games. And there wasn't any racing game my friends brought to me that I couldn't play. For some reason, any racing game that was brought to me, I quickly understood how it worked, and I was quickly one of the fastest. So for a long time, my friends used to tell me these things, that, you know what, Mike, if you actually become a racer, you might actually be good at this. Because you seem to always have a thing for video games. You seem to always pick up easily on them. And then the other thing also was I was a street racer. So as the type of person who get involved in street races for any reason, being a competitive person. So many people try to challenge me, and I take a challenge, you know. Actually, this is now maybe advice for maybe the competitors. Never, if you challenge me, actually speak to me. That's when you get actually the best out of me. So when people would come to challenge me, I'd actually race with them. And the level of intensity I would go with and what people would see me do, they always told me that, man, what you do doesn't even make sense. You know, it's almost borderline crazy. But somehow, you seem like you're in control. So as and when you become a racer, it seems like you may actually do pretty well. So Like, I guess maybe that explains some of the success we've had. The first time I sat in a rally car, was in Chippa Adams' car at Botanical Gardens. And they were having a picnic there. And I remember he did donuts. And the irony, he did donuts actually around my mom. Because my mom was trying to chase him to get us out of the car. So he kept doing donuts. And to me, it was fun. The next time I got in a rally car, the next keen time where I felt this is something I can be part of was when I was involved with Mohanji. And with Mohanji, I was actually his navigator. So I sat in Mohanji's car, and he took me out in Botanical Gardens. I think it was the 26th. I think even I still have a few maybe memories of that. And it was on the 26th. I think it was 2006 or 2005, one of the two. And we went and we had a pretty good race. I remember the car was in a bad shape. The suspension was not as good. But one thing I do remember is that I think we came out fourth or third. And the reason we were that slow was actually because my navigation wasn't very good in the first round, which I apologize, the late king, but my navigation wasn't good. But the next time when I navigated, he drove really well. And that's when also something showed me that actually a navigator can actually affect your performance a lot. Because he knew the track, he knew what to do, he knew the car. But because I was so fixated on how he was driving, I never actually navigated the car. I focused more on enjoying the ride. But in the next round, he told me, you have to respect your position because it's us collectively who actually make this car what it is. So when I respected the position, I kept my head down, I focused on the notes, and I led him through. And we did, I think, that time we were the second fastest behind Seboguzi. I think Seboguzi had the Evo 4 that time. So like I mentioned, the first time was Charlie Vega. Then the time, I can say with Charles Mohanji. But the time I felt what the new breed of cars is like. There's a time I went to Lubiri and I sat with Seboguzi in the Evo 9. They had actually just purchased it. I think it was 2009, if I'm not mistaken, 2010, something like that. But it was just soon after the cars had just come out. So it was still really, really new. And he took me through Lubiri. And I couldn't believe the pace in which he was moving, the commitment he had in the corners. Man, it was amazing what he was doing. I couldn't believe the technology and what the car was able to do, the suspension, how it was able to take up all the humps and the jumps. I didn't even realize Lubiri was actually that rough and that bad. And it made me respect drivers even the more. I believe maybe with Mohanji, maybe we didn't have, but what Seboguzi did that time just showed me that there was another level to this driving. And it also showed me the type of person that he is. Soon after that, I got some other episodes with Desh Kananura, who people commonly know as Andrew Kananura, or Desho. So Desho used to take me so much in his car. And when I saw Desh doing it, the fun it was having, and how his car control, because Desh is one of the most skilled drivers I've ever seen in my life. He's able to drive anything. And when I saw Desh driving his car that way, that's what also told me that I really need to step up my game if I want to do this. And I don't know, for some reason, every time I sat in a rally car, I felt more and more that's where I'm supposed to. No, about capacity of having the car, I would say my capacity started off, well, in our family we have this. If you really want to do something, then show you're interested in it, show your passion. You know, I come from a family where it's not about talk, it's about action. If you really want to get involved in something, then start it. Be serious about it. Put your money, your time, your effort behind it. And then along the way, they will come and support. So I remember I made an audio to the whole family that time, and I actually told them that I was ready to do rally. Because at that time, I felt I had the capacity. This was right before we got the cars. And that was about 3-4 years ago. And that's when I actually decided to become confident enough that I can actually do rally. And of course, over the years, I've learned to respect the sport even the more, because I've realized this sport is not just about speed. There are so many things that go into it. There's discipline, there's consistency, there's reliability, there's teamwork, there's effort, there's so many lessons you can learn, and you become a better human being and man, a stronger man in life, definitely, if you go through rally. The first event we had, was Mitiana. We did route opening. I think it was Kasanda. We did the route opening. It's actually a video of Rob Styles, which till this day makes my wife laugh. But that's the first episode we had in rally. I'd never experienced it. Everything was so new to me. I was just so used just to sitting in the car and driving. All of a sudden there are these rules, regulations, do this, do that, you can't do this. And of course it opened my eyes to so many things. Unfortunately, I think we lost something in the cylinder head, the spark plug or the coil. One of the coils came out and we lost the spark plug. So the engine couldn't perform as well. So we had to cut the rally short. But I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot in that one episode. And I remember I was sitting with Siraj Shambade, and we had been practicing for quite a bit of time, and we've been trying to make ourselves ready for that moment. So when it came, we received it with open arms, and it was really a good moment. So it was something that humbled me, because I realized we'd worked so hard, we had got there, and I felt even the performance we made then, even if it wasn't overall on the timesheets, I felt we had done well. So I felt I could do this. It gave me more confidence. In that, I wouldn't say in that first rally, I would say the challenges came. I think it was in the next rally, because we performed so well on the route opening, so well. So what happened eventually is we were pushed as guest drivers for the next rally, which was Sexy Rally. And I think we spent Sexy Speed Rally. I can't say the full words, We went for Sexy Speed Rally, the one that was in Ginger. And my goodness, I think we spent more time on the roof than on the wheels. So we literally had an incident in every section. The first section, I remember we went off the bridge. There was a bridge, we came too strong. We undermined the conditions. I slammed the brakes. The car drifted and just went literally like a stone and just fell off the bridge. I'd never had an incident. I mean, even for the time I'd been practicing, I'd never even call it knocked a light. But that was my first time, and of course, it was a lesson to be learned. The next stage, but with our resilience, we decided that no, we can't stop here. How can this be our first event? And before you even get to the finish, you've crashed. So I said, I can't allow my first event to be a no finish even in the first stage. No, at least let me finish the first stage. So we got back onto the track and we went. The next that happened was, the next stage actually, we entered water. I came too strong and I entered water. I thought I would just go through the water the way they do it in WRC, and the momentum of the water just shot us to the side. I underestimated the water and it just shot me. I didn't know water was that powerful. Then we got pulled out, of course, by the crowd. They put us back on the road. We drove. I thought the engine was going to die because we had been literally flooded. The whole car had water. But we pushed. Lucky enough, I kept the pedal down so the water didn't enter the engine. Then the next stage, we finished the next stage. Then the fourth stage is where we had an incident, where we came too strong off. I think it was a slow left going uphill. And that time I didn't know the difference between soils. I didn't even know the texture of soil matters. So we hit black soil. I think for most racers, they know what black soil is. It's like ice. It's like walking on soap. So I just came too strong, hit that point. The car literally went out of my hands, hit the side, and we flipped and fell on the roof. So it just made me rethink everything. It was such a painful moment because I felt what we had done in Mitiana was enough. But because this rally was full of rain, I realized that there was a lot I had to learn. So, but in doing so, being the type of character that I am, being as stubborn as I am, I realized that I have to make rain my friend. So I made a promise to myself that from that day on forth, anytime there are rainy conditions, I will not only be good at it, but I want to be the best. So from that point on, every time I saw rain, I would go practice. I would learn everything I can about rain. That's it. Yes, that was the last event. And then the next year we had CRC. So unfortunately, we couldn't make the first event because we lost a rear diff, which was, I believe, in Imbara. So for the next event, which was Kaliro, that MRT became MRT, is when I joined forces with Edward Kiyingi. And we went for the circuit. And in the circuit is when MRT became MRT. I think the first two events made me humble. I think I was overambitious coming from the first events, and I think I had a false confidence in the car. So coming into Kaliro, the beauty I had was I had a very mature team around me, which was I had the likes of Saka, yes, had been with us before, but even we had grown together. I had the likes of Musei Mambo, that I consider is my father, especially when it comes to rally. I had also Edward, and I believe also that's the time our today manager joined the team. So I had a very mature lot of people around me, and they advised me how to handle the situation. And I was really aggressive as a driver. I still am. But good thing I had a calm, mature head in Edward, who not only had experience in the sport, but he had the ability to also harness that aggression and make it what it is today. So going through the routes, he explained to me very many simple things. And in its simplicity, somehow the results were coming. So I would give a lot of credit also to my team, that they managed to tame me, I would say tame me. And in taming me, those are the kind of results we had in 2022. That event, actually it wasn't even the first finish. I remember our target was just to finish one stage without an incident. So we just wanted to finish one stage. That was our victory. So when we finished the first stage, we said, okay, fine, let's go for another finish in the second stage. And somehow the stages kept piling. So by the time we reached the circuit, we were confident. We were like, you know what? Actually, if we finish today, we have done okay. We've done more than what we expected, because our original goal was to finish a stage. So by the time we reached the circuit, lucky enough, Edward told me, you know what, Mike, since you've been able to do the other stages, here you can go for it. Let me see what you're all about. So he literally removed the handcuffs from me, he removed the leash, and told me, you go for it. So that's why in the circuit, I was throwing the car around. Because finally Edward was like, let me see what you... And then he saw also another side of me. He saw actually I was capable of doing a lot more with the car than what we had been doing in the stages. So it also helped him, because he became more confident in me, that I actually had a lot of car control, more than he even expected. Hey, my dad was a typical dad, very supportive. He came for the sport because he felt that, of course, us coming in, the way we're coming in, there was a bit of a negative publicity to us. And I think he came in because we share the same dream. So he came in support. And that time he was driving the Today 14, he was driving it then. So he came in actually to support me, to encourage me to go forth. Not only that, I think at the back of his mind, he said, Mike, yes, he loves a passion, but he didn't know whether or not I can drive. He had almost never seen me drive. He had never seen it. So the same reaction the crowd had about getting excited, about when we drove, is the same reaction he had. I didn't even know how well I'd driven until I saw literally my wife and my father reacting. That's when I'd realized that, you know, I think I was actually a pretty good drive, because they were very excited. They were blown away. They were blown away. After the event of Kaliro, we had a win. And after the win, me, that was my trophy. I was like, you know, this is my championship. I've finally got some kind of win of some sort. So I said, this one, I'll cherish it. I remember Musei Mambo gave me one of his CRC trophies. And he told me, Mike, he gave me a win trophy. The trophy he had won. He had won an event. So he told me, when I get my first win, I give him back his trophy. So no sooner had he given me his trophy, and then I gave him back his trophy. So going into the next event, at least I was more relaxed. The pressure was a bit off. I was like, okay, at least I have a win. So anything that comes in there after, it's acceptable. But of course, I liked the result. I liked the feeling. At least finally things seemed to be coming together. So I just kept myself cool. I didn't change too much of what I'd done in the past to get the other victory. So when we came, lucky enough, even Edward was even more confident in me now, and he allowed me to go faster. So hence the results started getting better and better. I believe the next event was Pearl of Africa, if I'm not mistaken. If we're talking in terms of rally, if we're talking about in terms of rally, the next event was Pearl of Africa. And Pearl of Africa, our expectations were very low. We didn't come there expecting to do much. I mean, you're talking about a situation where there are champions from different countries: Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya. I mean, these were different champions, and multiple Uganda champions. So anyone to have their ambitions high, I mean, you must be quite arrogant. So we came in there with a managed expectation. So our idea in Pearl of Africa was just to finish, because we knew there was so much pressure on that rally. And I can't lie, we were really shocked by the results we got on the first stage. You know, being third overall in that group of people right behind Jas and Lwakataka. And yet, actually, we had been blocked by Bwete, who was having a few issues, mechanical issues. We had been blocked by Bwete for, I think it was about 5 or 7 kilometers. We lost a lot of time. So according to our estimate, we could even have maybe won that stage, according to that estimate. So it kind of humbled us. We kind of felt that, you know what, maybe we actually can do more, given the right circumstances. So, and it was in Pearl of Africa that Edward had gained full trust in me. And the team had started to acknowledge that maybe we can actually do better. So in Pearl of Africa is when actually we started pacing ourselves and driving within what we can control. So the results in Pearl of Africa were nothing short of amazing. Because personally, I always look at Pearl of Africa as one of the key events in Uganda. And if you get any kind of win in Pearl of Africa, whether it's two-wheel, CRC or NRC, whatever win you can have, as long as it's Pearl of Africa, I think that's something to be proud of. At the time of Pearl of Africa, we felt we can become champions simply because the conditions were not in our favor. History had already proved to us that whenever it was raining or wet and the conditions were tough, we tended to struggle. And lucky enough, we had a situation whereby not only did we not struggle, but we performed really, really, really well. So after the performance in Pearl of Africa, because Pearl of Africa is a very tough rally for anyone, all the competitors. So by the time we felt that we had performed the way we performed in Kaliro, and we could perform the way we performed in Pearl of Africa, yeah, we did feel the championship could be won. We had missed an event, and it was unfortunate, but now all of a sudden we're very confident that, you know what, actually let's go for this championship. We had actually lost sight of the championship actually after missing the first event, but after the victory we had in Pearl of Africa, yeah, now we felt like, yeah, we can actually go for the championship. My family had always been supportive. Even I remember even when we had the shortcomings in Sexy Speed Rally. I remember even my mom actually walked to me sometime. I was seated at the table. I'd come to visit them, and she phoned me at the table, and she could see my mind was far. So she asked me what I was thinking about, and I told her, you know, I was thinking about how we performed and everything, and I feel like I'm more. And she told me, I hope you're not planning to give up on rally because you've just started. And the kind of passion you've always had, I want you to understand that, you know, God sometimes puts these in your way, and hopefully you take this not as a loss, but as a lesson. So pick up the lessons that you feel that you need to learn, and then just become better. Go. She said, besides, we shall support you, whether you're the last, whether you're the first. And that's all I needed. That's all I needed. I paid dividends for not finishing 100%. People would call me and lecture me as to why. But it's the rules of the game. If you're in CRC, do your 75%. Anything beyond that, if anything is to happen to you, it is really not on anyone else. But once you finish your 75%, you're considered in a CRC category. Anything beyond that, you're a guest driver. So if you're driving as a guest driver and your car actually fails to finish, not only are you actually removed from the event, but you forfeit the points that you could have won at the 75%. And as much as me as Mike, I'm willing to do all this, the car is limited. It's a machine. It can let you down. So if you manage to reach the 75% and finish, I saw it wiser to stay. Besides, there's a friend of mine, Rajiv, who unfortunately decided to go for the 100% on the last event at Kapeka. And yeah, his biggest fear was recognized. Unfortunately, he couldn't finish. So lessons like that are what deterred me from trying to go further. But I wanted the wins. I really did. No, on the last day of Rukunjiri, we simply had a situation of our alternator just failed, and the whole year, Edward had actually guided me through the race. So at that moment when I couldn't hear him, you can imagine this is your guidance, this is your strength. At that moment when I couldn't hear him, I was driving blind. So what actually failed is we had an electrical problem, and I couldn't hear him on the intercom. So we came around the left corner and we found triple caution. There were humps, 3 humps that were simultaneously together. So we hit them, and the car literally was never on the ground. Each time it was landing on the next hump. And we weren't driving too fast. I think we were almost the slowest at that moment, because we just wanted to finish the stage. And maybe I should have driven faster. Regrets anyway. So I almost hit the crowd. I turned the car, and that's how we had the accident. But that's what happened. So it happens. Yeah, it was really tough to be in a situation where we are on the last event of the championship with, I think it was about 8 kilometers to go. And then we lose the championship. It was something we didn't expect. And according to the numbers, I think we could have finished even last and still won the championship. All we had to actually do was finish. So to have a situation like that, it's painful for anyone. And I think many people in that regard can even think of giving up. But from the family I come from and the friends that I have, they didn't allow me to have such thoughts go through my mind, and they encouraged me. And also I heard about the thoughts and the supports from the fans, and the fans were very supportive. I remember they kept sending messages. I even heard about people crying about that day and how everything happened, and I felt bad about what happened, but unfortunately that's life. That's how it happens, and maybe God had it that way. Maybe he has something bigger and better for us. No, actually, we did come back. We came back soon after Rukunjiri. We came to Busika, the 26th December. And on the 26th, I was scared, because I was like, man, I've just been in an accident, and all of a sudden I'm sitting in a rally car again. But I had to battle the fear. I had to get back in the car and drive it. And lucky enough, we drove it, and we came out second overall behind Yasin. And that time I didn't want to make any mistakes. I was tired of mistakes. So we came out second overall behind Yasin. We could have gone faster, but we chose to just take the car home. And yeah, the event motivated us. So the next event we performed in there after was Pearl of Africa. That was 2023, last year. And unfortunately, we had the incident of losing both the engine and the gearbox in the same event. So that's what set us back, and that's why we were not able to. But we were very confident, we fixed everything, and now we're coming back. Of course, the first thing I had to work on was my weight, although I don't think I did such a good job because I became bigger. But the next thing that I got involved in was I decided to look at the sport and how to make it better, because I seemed to feel like we were getting closer and closer to becoming maybe one of the key factors who's going to lift the sport into the future. And it's so ironic, because not only does me and Captain share the same love for the sport and passion, but Captain was involved in the original setup of FMU, and he was one of the patrons of the sport, and he's one of the patrons of Mosaic. So for me, where I sit now today, I think it would only be best that in the position that I'm in right now, I decide to get involved in things that make actually the sport better. Whether it means bringing more sponsors to the sport, giving better ideas, sharing some ways we can go forward in terms of policies, legislation, and anything. Any way we can actually make the sport better. Because I don't believe in a situation where you get involved in something and you don't leave it better than you found it. So by the time I hang out my boots and my gloves and my helmet, I want to leave the sport better than I found it. The same way my father left FMU and the Mosaics, I want to have a situation where by the time I leave and my son's coming in, I want him to find something better. And I want him to believe that and be proud of his dad for doing the same. The preparations have been really good. Of course, the car just came out of ICU. So we're going to go with a conservative mindset. So the car is good, but we have to be realistic, you know. If it were the old 12, yes, I would be very confident. But since we're announcing a car that is relatively new to the terrain and basically rebuilt, we're going to be very, very conservative with our expectations. And who knows, you know, the last time we were conservative, we ended up doing well. So our conservativeness is what we're looking at. Of course, to the fans, to the supporters, I want to thank them so much. They're always very supportive. I pay attention to everything they say. The messages, there's nothing but positivity. I really respect you guys. I was a fan myself. Still, I'm a fan of so many drivers. I compete against them now, but I'm still a fan of them. So I want to thank them for everything they have done. The love and the support, trust me, I feel it, I know it's there. Thank you so much. And also KCB and Roseform. Yeah, we're going to participate in Mbara. Our goal is to come back to Mbara. Our goal, if everything goes well, we never start an event without thinking of the championship. So we're coming in with a conservative mindset, but our goal is to eventually take the championship. So we'll take it one step at a time, one day at a time, one stage at a time. And our goal is to eventually come back for the championship. We're just as serious as we were then. Nothing has changed. Our spirits are strong. We're very determined. And I would actually say we're even more focused now because we have fallen. But in us coming back, I feel like we're much stronger now. And this time, I feel like we're much stronger because now we know we can fall and we know so we can get up. And I feel we're very confident where we are. I would like to say the last time this car performed in Busika, it performed really well. And I think we were 4 seconds off Yassine's time. And the rest of the field was almost 9 to 8 seconds off the time. So, and then if you look at also Pearl of Africa's, because the records are there to show. It will show that not only does the car perform, but the combination of the team can perform well. So if you look at the times that we set up in even Pearl of Africa, you see that they are quite competitive. In some of the sections, we never had problems. So I'm very confident that we can put up a fight. It's just how conservative we can nance the car. Because to win a championship, you must be realistic with your expectations. So hopefully we can still have the same mature mindset around us. And by doing so, our focus is to bring up the fight. And at the end of the day, it's not about what the other person holds. It's about the fight in the person. And our fight, I can tell you, is very strong. Yeah, so the meet and greet, for most reason, is not per se for people just only to meet me, but I'm trying to create a situation where the streets meet rally. And the streets, it could be a street racer, it could be just someone casually sitting at home, any Tom, Dick, and Harry. I think people should just see people beyond the track. Most times people see me with a helmet. They don't know who I am, what I look like, what I'm all about. So people can come, let's meet, let's talk. We're going to have a situation where we're going to have food, we're going to have drinks. We're going to have a situation where people are going to display their businesses. I think it should just be more than just driving fast cars. People need to know what we're all about as drivers. They need to see who we are and that we're human beings, we have struggles, and that we also have the same needs like any other person in this life. So the meet and greet is just supposed to bring everyone together. It's going to be fun. This is the first of many. I'm encouraging everyone that can, just come and see. I mean, it's an experience that everyone can have.
My name is Edward Kiyingi. I'm a rally car driver, and professionally, I'm a social worker. I come from, just like Mike, I come also from a family. I come from a rallying family. I can't know offhand how many of my family members that have been in the sport or that are in the sport, but it all started with also my father. My father was a rally driver in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Then I think so we used to, by then we were kids in primary school, so he used to take us around in his rally car. When he's practicing, we used to be around the rally car overnight as it was being worked on. So literally, I grew up in a rally fraternity. So most of the people that I'm seeing around today, some I'm competing with them, by the way. There are people that I saw when I was still a young kid. So also my first experience in a rally car was also with my dad, my first competitive experience. That is some sprint in Lubiri. I think I was in senior 4. So I came, did a sprint with him, but then I had to go back and finish school. So he told me, fine, I will nurture you into rally, but then you first have to finish school. So immediately I finished school, my first request was like, I think it's now time to go to rally. So I started rally straight away from school. That's around 2008, so it's quite, I've been here for quite a number of years. I started this thing as a young kid. So then it became a family. Most of my brothers joined. I think I remember Ivan, Pius, Bongole, Joseph Bong. All of us are coming from the same family. Matthias of late, yeah, is also our brother. I used to, basically it's from my experience when we were being taken around as kids. I felt it fun. I usually love the car gliding and, I'm not looking there, but it was good experience just hearing how the car reacts, looking at how the driver is doing it. So I drew my passion from that. So growing up, obviously, the safest place was to be in the driver's seat. Okay, by the time I made 18, there was a rally car at home, but there were so many things to patch up before it could go on the road. So I joined, getting into rally, I joined marshals, which I could say was a great experience that nurtured me into what I am today. I mean, it was a good background. Starting from there, it has helped me into becoming a very good co-driver. So I really appreciate that background, the marshals, and I appreciate all the work that they are doing. I believe it would be a good breeding place for the sport. My first event as a navigator, I don't even know that. Now that I have all this experience, when I look back those days, I don't even know what I was doing. I don't even know why I was in that place in the first place, because there is so much that I didn't know by then. It was basically the driver, my second driver, okay, my first driver was my father. That was in a sprint, but my first driver was a good friend of mine up to today, a gentleman called Richard Oluga. So we are all novices. We are coming in. We knew so little. At times it's good when both of you, it's not good when both of you don't know much, but then it is toxic when one knows more than the other. So we were all coming to try out something new. But when I look back in those days, really, I think we had just come to play around. Lucky enough, we only did a sprint, and that was it, because the car couldn't hold for the next day. But I keep thinking back, if it had held and we went into the second day, I really don't think something good would have come out of here. But it's a learning, By the time I came back for the next event, there was a lot of now experience and expectations, and we knew what we were up against, so we changed quite a lot in the 2 months after that event. So the second event I was with a gentleman called Sabiti Muyanja, one of my favorite drivers up to today. He gave me a lot of nurturing because he had been in the sport for so long, and the good thing, I'd grown up seeing him around my father. He had been around our family, so he took on the role in nurturing me into becoming a better co-driver, a person I respect up today. I mean, most of the things, what I am today, it is thanks to him. It's been a great experience. He nurtured me into what I am today. Coming to MRT, the funny thing, I was coming out of a sabbatical. I had taken a sabbatical for 2-3 years. I wasn't in active motorsport deliberately, because time came, I'd done it over and over and over. And time came, I felt I think I should give this thing a break. Then all of a sudden, I received a call from one of the gentlemen that I respect a lot in motorsport. Of course, coming into 2022, I was like, I think it's time I go back to rally. So I was there trying to weigh options. Okay, which team do I go to? Then I just received a call from Haji Mambo, and the driver was Mike Mukula. Of course, I knew the closest I had seen, this is a person I'd even never met in person. We had never met. I didn't know how he looks like. He didn't know how I look like. And here were people proposing that we should team up. So I'd seen him in the stages in Ginger. By then I was a fad because I was in sabbatical. And I think by the time I saw his car, it had already shown signs that on the roof that they had rolled somewhere in the stage. So I come in, but I'm also a person who likes challenges. And also I could have been around people who are coming into the sport. So I know basically the mentality of new drivers coming into the sport. And I was like, okay, let's give this as a try. And I think also I was out of the sport for long, so I also believe also on Mikey's side, I was like, I think let's give ourselves a chance, let's give it a try and see how it goes. Of course, it's not easy. It's not easy when a co-driver is getting into a new seat with a new driver. It's always not a good, an easy experience. But usually it's a learning curve. There are a lot of things over time you learn from the driver, new things you learn. As the driver might be new, fine, but there are things you learn from them. They also learn from you. So pretty much you go with the mentality of learning from each other. Each driver is different. Of course, I knew that from my experience. So it's like going back to zero, learning each other, and see how you can squeeze performance and results out of yourselves. Mike, I could call it a stage, because again, what I would call one of the most challenging events turned out to be one of the best events. There is a stage in Pearl. It was called Shekameta. It is one of the toughest stages that I would call it the toughest stage that I've had to navigate. So tough, the conditions were hard, everything was coming up so fast, so many obstacles on the road, and the speeds were so high. There was a lot at stake. So navigating that car out of that stage without any incident or an off was one of the toughest moments I've had in my rally career. But overall, we have had quite a pretty good time in the car and even outside the car. So I would rate it an 80% good experience. From the camp, obviously, being away from we've been away from the competition, but we haven't been away from the sport. So there is a lot of things that have been happening in the background. The cars, the what, how to see that we get ourselves better as individuals, how we work on the cars to get reliable. Of course, after 2022, 2023, I wasn't planning on doing any rally. That's why, of course, people who are close to me know I think it has been one of the toughest years in my life. I've had quite a number of health challenges. So just as the car have been in the works, so my health has also been, the doctors have been trying to patch up my health. So, but I've been on the team, and whatever has been happening, and a lot has been happening on the background. So let's see, we are promising starting it from where we left it. So 2024, yeah, we are starting from where we left it. So they should expect even something better. Yes, to the fans, obviously with the sport, I'll say, as I always say, safety first. It's going to be quite a challenging season. So many returnees are coming back, quite a number of good drivers. So I would urge them to keep the sport safe, keep out of the roads, listen to the instructions. Of course, to my prediction, this is going to be one of the most competitive years that the sport has ever seen in the recent times. So, and on Sunday, I would urge them to come. Let's know each other. Let's have a good time before the season starts, so that at least when we are in the stages, we know each other, we know what to do, we know more, we have more information about the sport, that everyone is in the know of what is happening. So let's meet Sunday, meet and greet, a lot of eats, drinks. We have quite a number of people that we have invited that have really been taken along without being in the public eye. These people have promised to come. So let's link up, let's make this fun. And I believe, and even make more of these events, so that there are so many people out there who would want to know the sport, but they don't know what the dynamics of the sport. Some want to join the sport, some want to be fans. So the best way is to meet up and everyone gets to know what exactly the sport is all about.